Well, hello Miracle Channel family, and welcome to Behind the Scenes today. We're so happy to join you guys again this month. We love being able to connect with you on what's going on here at Miracle Channel. And today, we're going to have a lot of conversation about a man who's honestly had a massive impact on all of our lives, Leon Fontaine. And as you know, that Leon passed a number of weeks ago. We just had a beautiful celebration of life service. He's a colossal of a man that's impact and his has been felt not just in our world, but truly on the nation of Canada and around the world. And really, today we're going to dedicate a lot of time just talking about how much impact he's had on our lives, what he's done for Miracle Channel, what he's done for Canada. I'm also joined here by, you guys know Jeff Thiessen, with VP of Miracle Channel, longtime friend. Also, we're joined by Jeremy Prest as well, he's my brother-in-law, Leon's son-in-law. He's an associate pastor at Springs Church, also a member of the board for the Miracle Channel. And as we go through this time, we all obviously are grieving the loss of a man that we love so dearly. I know you guys are as well. Whether you've met him or you haven't met him, Leon's had an impact on our lives. And really, I'm just hoping and praying that today that we can just give even a small amount of the honor that is due to what he's done. But anyways, Jeff, yesterday was a celebration of life service. Maybe just a couple thoughts and remarks on Leon to open up.
I just got to tell you, I had an opportunity to meet him almost 40 years ago, like a long time ago. And even then, he was somebody you knew God had his hand on. Yeah. And he was just at the time, just probably 20 years old. But I saw firsthand the progression in his life. I saw him on the TV show with my parents. Yeah. And the opportunity that he had initially to reach the world through that show, and the viewers loved him from that moment on. The first time he got on the air, they just glommed onto him, saying, "This is a man of God that we got to listen to." Yeah. So I just want to say I've had the opportunity to firsthand see his life progress and see the impact grow and grow and grow. And I want to say that I am honored to be his friend, and I'm honored to be able to have served him. He's just an incredible man, a great leader, and one who could teach leaders. Leaders were taught by leaders. He was just such a great leadership trainer.
I know. Jerry, you and I have had a lot of different relationships with Leon. There's different hats he wore with us. Maybe just go ahead and tell us how you're doing. What are you thinking about?
Yeah, I think, as you said, we put on these different hats because he wore many hats with us. Father-in-law, mentor, pastor, just like God-appointed leader. I honestly, from a young age, that's how I always looked at him. It was very obvious when he walked into the room that he had no ego. He was always selfless, but you could tell, just as Jeff was saying, there was this anointing on him. You could just feel it, you could sense it. And he would walk into a room and just make people feel special and feel as almost though, I could give you countless moments when he just made people like a clerk at a Save-On Foods counter feel special and made them laugh and honestly turned these little moments into witnessing moments where he got people saved for the kingdom everywhere he went. And he's just a powerful, confident, God-fearing man in every way you can imagine. He's such an amazing man.
Well, his mark is left in so many areas. There really are so many legacy markers that is throughout his life, and the true, in my opinion, the true mark of a leader, like a leader's leader, isn't just a man who raises up a business or an organization. But it's a man that as he's doing that, he is raising up leaders around him to continue to build and grow. That's a leader's leader. And that's what Leon did simultaneously as he was building church that literally impacted a nation. And further than that, not to be exaggerative, but had an impact on the world. He jumped into television because God was leading him there. And he's building that. You talk about building education schools to help train the next generations and etc. He was at the same time of doing that, raising up leaders. And Jeff, I know going back to the beginning of Miracle Channel, I should say our beginning of Miracle Channel about 11, 12 years ago, and Leon tapped you on the shoulder. Maybe bring us back to that story and what happened and what he was communicating to you in terms of vision and where are we going.
You know, he came to me right off the bat saying there is a purpose for Miracle Channel, and he spoke life to it. When he first came on, obviously it was in disarray. It had so many leadership transitions, and the staff was really struggling. And the viewership was struggling too, because they just didn't know the direction. And he immediately put in the structures. He immediately put in vision. He immediately spoke life to it. Spoke life to something that was dying. And bringing on leadership and bringing on the team members, removing some of the other leadership and team leaders that just weren't helping move it forward. And that's, I guess, what I appreciate as one of the great things he does. I can't say, you know, the thing, but he always saw into the future. He always saw what wasn't and spoke it and said, this is what could be. Yeah. And so when we're just walking through those, like the first time I went there, it was like, there's this massive building. It was almost empty. They had already dealt with some of the problem staff and removed some of them because they were just, again, weren't going forward, and said, Jeff, we have an opportunity to paint a brand new canvas here and paint a new picture of where God could lead this organization. And so work with me to help move it forward. And I was like, how can I not? At the time I was just consulting, and he brought me in just to help with the CRTC side. And then I started helping with equipment and purchases that way because they just didn't have great advice that way. And then all of a sudden my heart just bonded with this is the moment in time for the Miracle Channel, and I should step up and be a part of it. So, you know, he had a way of communicating vision to people. Yeah. So, you know, there's lots of different individual things that happened, but that I can just look back at that time and say, he spoke life to something that was dying and knew that there was a purpose. And, you know, people like you also saw that great opportunity to say, you know what, Miracle Channel is going to be a force for the world, and you stepped up. He spoke into the cameras and said, please help us do something that's almost impossible. At the time, there's so much transition going on in television, and he said, you know what, this is an important thing. This is the first Christian TV station that was licensed in Canada. We're not going to let it die. Yeah. And you stepped up to the plate. You helped us out. You started to say, okay, how can I also help to make a difference? And I just want to say thank you. On behalf of Leon, thank you, all of you, for what you did to help us during that time, but also knowing that there's so much more to come.
Absolutely. And you know what's amazing about that is in that season, I remember talking with Leon and hearing the stories of what people were telling him about TV. And they were prophesying to him that TV's dying, TV's dead. There is not, and there won't even be television in 5 years. And in the face of that, like you said, he began to kind of see into the future, and that's where Holy Spirit led him, and he began to just kind of envision what the channel could become. Yeah. And I think if we could actually look into the future to see it, I think we would be amazed at how much ground has been taken, how the nation has been impacted because of Miracle Channel, because of the messages, the teaching, and it's not only the visionary, just as you're alluding to, Jeff. If people didn't give of their own hard-earned money to fund something like this, so that we can continue to do that, we wouldn't be as well. Totally. We wouldn't be sitting here today changing lives because of donors that are donating. So you just can't say thank you enough, because it's the water that is nourishing the seed in the ground. Without it, it's impossible. And I just think,
you know, what you guys are saying is that you're bringing up some memories. Like I remember. Yeah. How many trips I would do the 2-hour drive from Calgary to Lethbridge with Leon, because you're going down there to go on live TV for hours because we believed and we're casting vision, and Leon's like, no, we got to hit people with vision. When the world's picture was like, no, this isn't going to go well, Leon was equipped with God's vision, and he was compelled to continue to articulate that. You know, I think before I keep going to stories, I just wanted to say that there's also a massive part of that, and what is often left out is that when you look at what Leon and the vision that he had, it really was a vision for Leon and Sally, because his wife Sally was a massive part in terms of saying, no, Leon, we need to do this. Canada needs this. Sally was someone that was 100% when at first when maybe Leon was maybe a little hesitant whether we jump into the TV world or not. Like, this is a big change from what he's already got going on in his world. Is that Sally was there right alongside saying, you know what, Leon, this is something we need to do. This is something that God is calling us. And I think also just to mention that like Sally and the whole family, like they all feel everyone's prayers and they feel everyone's support and they're extremely thankful and also like just humbled at how much people have been reaching out and praying and supporting the family through this time, because obviously it's the most difficult road to walk and being a part of the family. It's very difficult. But I just want to mention that oftentimes it's left out. But Sally was along right stride for stride with Leon at every step that they took, and really was a definition of when a couple's in tune and following the vision that God has for them, is that the strength is compounded so much in terms of where they're going and where they're believing. I thought that was just important to mention. But back to the story is that the whole time we'd be driving down the Lethbridge, and Jeff, there's several times a year driving down, we all be driving together. And I remember Leon would either be in his front seat with his iPad or his Bible open, studying, getting ideas, or finding out what's God telling me, what's Holy Spirit prompting me to talk about tonight, what vision do I need to cast, or how can I articulate this to get people on board. And he'd be quiet for 30 minutes, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he would start to go and be like almost preaching to me, saying, just here's what's on his heart, here's what's coming out of his spirit. And he was doing it because obviously he's getting it out, but he's doing it so I pick it up too, because I'm there beside him, or you're picking up. I have so many cherished memories of road trips that where you go silent for 30 minutes and all of a sudden it's like hardcore 30 minutes of dive into the word and vision and dream together and where we're going. It's just, gosh, those were such amazing times. But
yeah, I think of it as God had his hand on that man and was able to just continue to provide a way of understanding what the country needed to. And he always had a sense that Miracle Channel's voice into the country is incredibly important. And that even showed up in the Freedom Convoy that we were involved with this year.
Yeah.
It wasn't just back in 2011 or 2012 or the early beginnings of his time at Miracle Channel. He continued to push all of us to say, what is God saying today and how can we affect our country today? And there was so many different MPs and senators that have reached out to your family, of the government of Canada, who understand the importance of what Leon was and what he did for the country. Mm-hmm. And it just it shows just how impactful he was even today. Like, what he has done is amazing.
Yeah, it is. Hey, Jerry, I got a question for you. Do you remember your first time that you were dragged on live TV? That Leon brought you alongside. Maybe tell us, because I remember you and I've talked about how it's like we felt like we were just the biggest idiots going on TV, and then you realize, how does Leon do this all the time? Like, what an amazing skill the man had.
Well, first of all, I was holding the mic like this. My hand's just trembling. I remember being so scared. But again, it speaks to the way Leon thought. He thought in generations. Like, he trained us up. At the first chance he could, he brought us on, got us in the call center, even just started getting us to answer phone calls, which again was one of the most amazing ministry things I've ever done. Hearing real people call in, ask for prayer, give donations, amazing. But you're right, like, he gave us a shot and he brought us into the lane with him to the ministry, and it was so amazing. And I was awful. Like, I was so bad.
Well, you're still awful, Jeremy.
No, David, come on.
Sorry. It's just my brother-in-law.
We're brothers. It's okay.
Just kidding.
That's how a brother tells him he loves him, so it's good.
But that goes to him, like, developing leaders around him. He's always bringing people into the fold. He's always trying to expand and all that. And like, even if you look at some key moments in Miracle Channel history, Jeff, he talked about like the start when Mervyn, at the chairman of the board at the time, brought Leon in, and Leon he jumped in 110%. Like, we're all in. We're not letting this thing die. And then you look at some key moments as we started adding different cable networks, and Spring Church program was already on the Miracle Channel before he jumped on as leader of Miracle Channel. You look at Devoted, right? Remember us talking about Devoted and his
what an impact around the world.
Look how far Devoted's come in the last 9 years. It was 2013. and that's Leon's teachings into like the amount of emails we have coming in from around the world of people who read that. Like, I don't know, do you have any thoughts on Devoted? That is just crazy how far that's come.
Yeah, and that was one of his passion, was the word. Speak the word. You let people dwell on the word, give it to them in a way that they can understand.
Practical.
And make it practical and make it effective.
Yeah.
And you know what? I just want to say that is going to continue to go around the world over and over again. We got some really great announcements that are going to be coming up soon about that, and we're not going to let it stop. We're going to continue to grow the Devoted because it has been such a tool.
Yeah.
It's an actual ministry arm of the Miracle Channel that's being effective around the world. So when I think of Devoted, I think of the channels. Like we're actually, you're able to see us in almost every part of the country now. And that just happened just recently because of him saying we need to go deeper and wider in Canada. Yeah. So like Corco, the new TV station or the channel we have going, is just going to continue to grow and grow and grow. Yeah. Corco Plus, video on demand, it's got to be the best Christian video on demand service potentially in the world. We have 13,000 titles, the best teaching ever, and that's because he's saying, Jeff, what is going to happen if the broadcast channels don't go the same way? What are you going to do? And pushed me to say, let's do something beyond that. Let's do something like a streaming service. Let's get a video on demand service that's effective.
Well, even we're seeing that right now with different cable providers in Canada, is that they're starting to expand way more into the app-driven ways to get their channels. Not the traditional way of finding and flipping channels. It's app-driven, and we're already at a place where we're there because of, again, vision and growth and building strength upon strength upon strength. And that was something that I'm so thankful for, because you look at how far we've come. I've been there pretty much from the beginning, and you were there consulting right before, is that you look from the different seasons, right? Those different 4 levels that Leon talks about, from survival mode, right? Into stability, into success, and then now you move into significance. And Miracle Channel has been traveling those 4 from survival mode. Okay, we're barely keeping our head above water. And then with vision and Leon casting vision and bringing people in, we move to stability. It's like, okay, things are okay. Like, now we can start to look about where do we need to improve. And then we start going to success, which is really where we're able to look, okay, where do we want to grow? Where do we want to invest? What's important for the future? Again, like another version of vision. Where are we going over the next 10 years? And really, I believe, and I know that Leon's been in the significance mode for years already. And it's just, what an honor to be a part of that.
And again, because the viewers said, yes, I believe in this, I'm going to give money towards it, I'm going to help grow it and be a part of it. Yeah. So I want to say again, you saw the 4 S's, you saw it going from just straight survival, and you were there to keep it to survive. And you've grown right through to the S, where it's now significant. And thank you very much, all of you. Thank you.
Go ahead, Jer.
That's one thing that actually on our Miracle Channel's Instagram page last night, they posted a clip from Leon about going greater or building greater. And it's a small teaching that he does where he's talking about the parable of the talents. And he says, like, the man who buried the talent and kept what he had, it was taken away from him.
Didn't lose it. Yeah, he kept it.
Yeah, they ended up taking it away from him, going, you were not faithful with this, you didn't grow it, you weren't faithful with it. And if there's a trait that Leon always had, it was he never just maintained. He pushed, he grew, he was faithful. And it takes courage. It takes, like we said, he had everything, Leon and Sally had everything against them when it came to this, and they were faithfully pushing and advancing. And Jeff, I want to touch on, you mentioned Devoted. One of the coolest stories of Devoted is my next door neighbor, actually. We just moved out of our house, and I've been witnessing to him for a while, for a long period of time, and kind of just sharing things with him. And so I remember I went into my house and I was like, I just want to give him something. And I remember I looked through my cupboard and I actually found a little Devoted booklet that I got mailed to my house, and I grabbed it and I was like, perfect. And so we went, because he was looking for some sort of material, and I brought it over to him, I handed it to him, and I didn't know if he'd read it. I honestly was just like, I hope he does, I'm praying he does, and only to find out he read the whole book in one night. And so the next morning, I bump into him the next morning, and he goes, that book is amazing, and like, it's meant for day by day, but he was just absorbing it, and God was working on his heart. And so he called me, he's like, how can I get many more of those? And so I pointed him to our website, and he signed up now, and he actually he gave his life to Christ, and it's just so cool that there's just so many facets, so many ability, so many ways to get to people's hearts. And that's, again, just a testimony to the leadership we have, where it's not just linear television, it's VOD, it's the pamphlets, it's the devoted booklets, it's getting like so many angles to minister to people wherever they're at, and it's just the coolest thing.
Yeah, that's so great.
And maybe just to jump in really quickly, we have a calendar for anybody who wants to give. They can get this thing for any gift. But one of the things that's great about this calendar is it has beautiful pictures of our great country. And just to say, if you'd like to have this calendar, we have people from all the time just saying, we love your calendars, they're amazing. But if you want to give, that'd be a wonderful thing we can send you. So please consider that if you're going to be wanting a gift before the end of the year. We'd love to send you the calendar for next year.
Yeah. You know what, one thing about, if you look through a lot of the outpouring of love through social media, we've seen a lot through emails and online and all those things, that if you read some of those comments, there are comments all over the place about Leon's encounters with people. And it didn't matter who the person was, whether they had fame in the world standards or whether they didn't have fame. It doesn't matter who they were. Is that people had encounters like, Jerry, you're talking about your neighbor. And there's so many stories like that where Leon had an encounter, and just like Jesus would take time for the individual person to connect, to make them feel loved. And a term that Leon and Sally have talked about all the time in a culture of our church and Miracle Channel is built around is love, acceptance, and forgiveness, LAF. And Leon went out of his way wherever he went to make sure that people felt that. And not just in a one-on-one basis, but it's been our goal to communicate that to everyone. And that's just really, again, another mark of legacy, is that it's not just about building and what can I do and puff up. We put Leon on a pedestal. He was the most humble man. If you knew him, you would know that he was the most humble man.
One of the things I think that's so cool is also we lived with him as well, and we saw all that. And so we actually in the last 6 months have been living in his place right now because we're transitioning. We sold our home and we're moving into a new one. And the coolest thing has been seeing it through the lens of my children, which are obviously his grandchildren. And it's so cool because you see someone who can operate at such a high level of television and operations that come with all that, but then also when it comes down to speaking to a child. This one song comes to my heart that I remember him singing all the time to my kids, and I'm probably going to tear up here. Is that he would sing this song, I've got the peace that passes understanding down in my heart. And to my kids, he'd go, where? And my kids would say, down in my heart. But to me, that was just a beautiful picture of Spirit Contemporary and the heart of our channel, is that he would speak right to their level. And that's what, when you look at the heart of this channel, that's what it's about. It's about reaching people wherever they are at, no matter what, with the true gospel of the good news. And it's when I reflect, I'm just so in awe of and so thankful to be under the leadership of Pastors Leon and Sally. Just that this opportunity has been given to us. I'm just so grateful.
Well, Jeff, I know we're running probably short on time. We could literally talk 4 hours about this. Can you quickly recap? There's a significant moment that happened with Miracle Channel that happened in our relationship building time with TBN. You had, and I'm really jealous that you were there, you had the opportunity to be with Leon. At the time, it was Paul Crouch Sr., who was the leader of Miracle Channel and the legacy he left, and also his son, Matt Crouch. Maybe just talk a little bit about what happened in that moment, because that was very significant.
It was a pivotal moment. Yeah, and you're right, I was very honored to be there. We had developed a relationship with TBN. It was actually formalized to say, yes, we're going to do things together. And it was, that joining of hearts that had already happened. But there was another key moment after that, and that was when Leon was invited to come and just talk to Paul Crouch. And this is just maybe weeks or months before Paul passed. And Paul was sitting in his living room in Texas, and there was a few key people around, including Matt, and he was asking Leon more about Spirit Contemporary, just really probing in there, because he had watched the programs with Leon, he had talked to, seen what the impact was in their network, but he wanted to probe even deeper. And so as he's just talking and just their fellowshipping and really connecting together with hearts, he looked over at Matt and he said, Matt, I want you to understand this. What Leon is talking about right now is our mission, and we need to move it forward.
Wow.
And it was such a powerful moment when he said, this is a message that will change the world. And make sure that as I go and you take over, that this is something that encompasses everything about what we do. And of course, Matt went ahead and as he took the reins, he literally embraced everything Leon was talking about. He brought Leon in so many times. I got a chance to be at some of those too. And every time he did, it was like, Leon, help me, figure out how to reach this country, and this world. And that was an opportunity that
awesome.
Was given Leon. That was literally, that will continue forever.
Yeah. You know, again, there's going to be more programming coming. Like, I know we're unfortunately right out of time, but I think what I wanted to say in close is that Leon left a legacy with Miracle Channel. He had a vision for where Miracle Channel is going. He had a vision for and an idea of how he wanted to help shape our nation of Canada, how he wanted to make it secure for not just right now, but for generations, for our kids, for our great-grandkids as they continue to go. Leon was a man with a vision for generations. Just like God is a generational God, Leon understood that. We don't live just for now. We live to build the future. And there is no rolling over and dying in our world. It's not in our blood. We haven't been trained that way. Leon would kick our butts if we did that. And really what I want to say is a massive thank you to everyone who has been a part of the journey thus far, because without you, none of this would be possible. Miracle Channel would not be what it is. It would not have the impact. There's been lots of opportunities. God has led and opened doors for Pastor Leon and ourselves at Miracle Channel, but because of you who have given and sowed into the ministry, you've allowed us and helped us to walk through those opportunities. And what I want to say now is, as we look towards the year end and as we are going into 2023, is that we know that the best is still yet to come. We know that God's not even close to being done. In fact, He's got so much more, and we have so much more on the horizon we didn't touch on. Growth of Miracle Channel, Corco, Citizen Media, Corco Plus, content that we're making. We didn't even touch on Five in the Wild and other original programming we want to do. It's so big, the future that we have, to continue reaching this generation so that your kids and your grandkids have an opportunity, not just to know Jesus, but to be a disciple of Jesus and to impact their world. So I just want to thank you and ask you for all those who are giving and supporting the Miracle Channel. Just consider how you can help us be prepared to continue to run the race that's before us as we move into 2023. Because without you, we cannot get this done. We are one big Miracle Channel family, and it doesn't matter how big or small you think your gift is, every single dollar matters, every single dollar happens. So thank you so much in advance for those who are continuing to support as we move towards the end of this year, so we can move into strength into this next year. We believe the best is yet to come. Jared,
100%.
Jeff, any closing words, you guys?
I actually think you said that line so perfectly. That's something Leon said all the time, and he believed it. He wasn't just a saying. The best is yet to come, and I think we all believe it. We know it, and we're prophesying that into our future.
Amen.
Yeah.
Jeff?
Only to say thank you, Lord Jesus, for getting the opportunity to know Leon and to be working with him.
That's right. Absolutely. We love you guys. We're honored to be a part of Leon's team, but we also are honored to be able to continue doing life with all of you who are viewing and watching. The best is yet to come. We'll see you guys soon.
Thank you for watching Behind the Scenes on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to the channel here. It's the Miracle Channel Official. And click on the bell so you're notified of new programs. While you're here, make sure you look at all the great programs we have on this channel. There's so many to choose from, but make sure you check it all out.